Everyone, Jennifer Blevins-Smith with Integral Clinic Solutions, and you're watching my YouTube channel, Navigating the Business of Medicine. Today, I have some updated information for you that's going to go into effect in just a few weeks, and that is the ICD-10 changes that go into effect October 1st, 2024. The fiscal year is rapidly approaching, or I should say the end of the fiscal year is rapidly approaching. The fiscal year is from October 1st through September 30th. So as of October 1st, we'll be in the new fiscal year, and there are some government entities, situations that follow a fiscal year and not a calendar year. ICD-10 code changes are one of those things that follows the fiscal year and not the calendar year. Because of that, I'm doing this video. The ICD-10, which are the diagnosis codes, and they stand for the International Classification of Diseases. We're on the 10th revision of this. That's the 10 part, ICD-10. And they are going to be doing some additional ICD codes being added as of October 1st. They're going to edit some existing and they're going to remove some. These are all ICD codes, and the changes are based on, I have it written here, the Statistical Classification of Diseases that's published by the World Health Organization, by WHO. That's where all of these different classifications of diseases come from. And then there's like 4 different entities that come together and they review data from the previous year. And I don't know how far back the data goes, but I know at least within this last year. And they decide what needs to be changed when it comes to the diagnosis codes. And moving forward, instead of saying ICD-10 codes, I'm going to say diagnosis codes because it's just easier for me. So they decide who's and what needs to be made changes to the ICD-10 codes, and then CMS announces those changes. So in early July, they announce the changes to the diagnosis codes, and they go into effect October 1st. If what I'm going to read to you directly affects you, then you'll probably want to do a lot more research, because again, I'm just doing a high-level overview to inform you so that you know where to start and to start looking deeper into things that could affect your business. If you're like, oh, that doesn't affect me, that doesn't affect me, that doesn't affect me, that's great, but I'm not giving all of the information. This is just a little bit. So you still need to go and look into what changes are being made to diagnosis codes so that you don't start billing out something after October 1st that says it's no longer a valid code, things are getting denied, getting rejected, and slowing down your claim submission, your claim adjudication, and payments, okay? So even if you are like, oh, that doesn't affect me, that doesn't affect me, that doesn't affect me, I'm just hitting the high points. I'm not hitting all the points. This isn't a full inclusive list. So make sure you go to the description of this video. I'm going to put links that I think will be helpful for you as a viewer to be able to do further research on these ICD-10 or diagnosis code changes. Okay, so I wrote down some things because I'm not going to remember these numbers, I promise you. So effective October 1st, 2024, for the fiscal year, the new fiscal year, it's going to have 252 new diagnosis codes. You heard me right. They're adding 252 new codes. They're going to remove 36 codes. So there is a possibility that a code that you're using now might not be relevant or valid come October 1st. And they're going to do 13 code revisions, and that could also include them updating some notations for those ICD codes. So you want to make sure that, again, you're looking into this. If this seems like kind of over your head or you're not sure about it, just try to go research it, look it up. I don't think it's as hard as you think it might be or as it sounds, but you should also have a coder in-house or someone that you can rely on that can help you with this, like a subject matter expert in coding that you can also work with internally to help you figure this out. The new ones that they're adding, this isn't all of them because if you add them up, it's not 252, but out of the 252 new ones, 63 are going to be new neoplasm codes. So that's directly affecting mostly oncology, radiation, things like that. Neoplasms are usually some kind of cancer or malignancy. I think there's some benign neoplasms out there too. Again, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not, don't hold me to that. But again, neoplasm codes. There's going to be 27 new digestive and eating disorder codes. I don't know if this includes some behavioral health codes, mental health codes because of eating disorders, but there is digestive and eating disorders, so it's very interesting. 33 new musculoskeletal codes, diagnosis codes, which that affects, I think, a lot of specialties because so many people do kind of dabble in musculoskeletal somewhere in their specialty. And then 30 new injury and poisoning and other external causes codes. Something to note about external causes codes is they can't be listed as the primary diagnosis code on CPT codes, which that's like one of the biggest errors I find providers doing when they're coding things themselves. They're never ending adding an external cause code as the primary diagnosis to a CPT code. And then they get rejected or they get denied and it's just a mess. So not that we need any more, but they're adding 30 more new ones for injuries and poisonings. It's like, a cat scratch or a needle poke. Like those would be something that would be like other external causes. You want to put diagnoses that are like a laceration or some kind of puncture wound or something like that. And then you can put the external cause code listed as second or third. But that is what they're doing. So 252 new codes altogether. Out of those 252, there's 63 neoplasm codes, 27 digestive and eating disorder codes, 33 musculoskeletal related codes, and 30 injury and poisoning and other external causes codes. Again, that's not all of the new codes because if you add up those numbers, they don't add to 252, but that's the bulk of them. And then again, I don't have a list of what codes are being deleted, so I would definitely make sure that you're researching that to make sure you're not affected. And then the 13 code revisions. So not terrible. I mean, if you do the math, 252 new codes, but they're removing 36 codes. So it's like 226 new codes. And then they're editing 13 of them. So, just make sure that you're reviewing the official guidelines for coding and reporting through CMS for 2025. That's kind of like the keywords, if you will, when you're on Google. You can put in official guidelines for coding and reporting from CMS 2025. Or I just put in 2025 ICD-10 changes. And then you'll get a bunch of stuff too. Google's pretty nice of knowing what I need without having to put all of that expert stuff. But again, I'm going to put links in the video description to help you so that you're not having to search as much as maybe I did to get the information. So I can kind of jumpstart that for you. I know I'm one of those people, I'll click on one thing and then I get down a rabbit hole on something else and then I'm here and then before you know it, I have to go all the way back. So I hope that doesn't happen to you. But again, I will put those links in the video description. If you have any questions or comments, I will do my best to answer you. Again, I'm not a coder. I'm not a certified coder. I just am trying to put this out there so that you're aware of it because I can't tell you how many times there are changes that happen October 1st because people, like in the medical field, I think we more focus on the January 1st changes, right? Because majority of people's deductibles start over January 1st and that's our annual kind of restart for a new year. And so a lot of us forget about that fiscal part. So unless you work for the government, where it's a very significant thing, until you've worked in healthcare long enough, you don't even think about that fiscal year change that starts October 1st. So just keep that in mind. We're only a few weeks away, so hopefully you start doing that research soon and you see this video to give you enough time. And again, share this please with any of your colleagues whom this might affect so that they can start their research as soon as possible too. If you have any questions or comments, again, you're free to leave that in the comments below. Smash the thumbs up button if today's video was helpful. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and share this with your colleagues. Thank you so much for the support. I really appreciate the participation from viewers, the questions. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. Take care of yourself, okay? We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.